Good morning, I'm Robert Tan and you're watching PTV coverage on the World Economic Forum on East Asia 2014.
And I'm Jimeno-Atienza. We will walk you through what's going to happen today for the World Economic Forum on East Asia 2014. A series of arena sessions in the different function rooms of the Makati Shangri-La Hotel have been conducted over the past 2 days. These sessions revolved around global issues and concerns, a number of which call for solutions.
These are issues and concerns that impact not only on single individual nation or community. These are issues that affect each and every one of us in the global community, negatively or positively.
Over the past generations, people from many parts of the world have slowly come to realize that no man is an island, and so now count themselves as members of a global village.
And the World Economic Forum has been a major instrument in bringing together decision makers and stakeholders from both private and public sectors as the forum espouses improve the state of the world. Welcome today to PTV for special coverage of the World Economic Forum on East 2014.
All right. Before anything else,
yes,
Rocky Ignacio will report on the official opening of the 23rd World Economic Forum by President Benigno Aquino.
Yes, our
I suppose it's not
Cathy San Gabriel will be there. And later on, we will be expecting President Aquino to welcome Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono for the state visit, and they will, I guess, discuss issues on how to better the trade relations and economic relations of both countries.
We shall now stand by for the VTR or the video that would show us President Aquino waiting to wait for the Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono. But you know what, Robert? Yesterday was a very exciting first day of the sessions of the World Economic Forum on East Asia program.
Okay, now let's go to Cathy San Gabriel live from Malacanang.
I'd like to bring you in as well because MasterCard, you're trying to put into place payment solutions. We talk about transactions. These people transact multiple times a day. In your experience and from what you're doing,
Cathy is now live from Malacanang, where President Aquino will
be made about.
I think we are encountering
some technical problems. But yesterday was a very momentous event for the Philippines, hosting for the first time, the 23rd World Economic Forum on East Asia. And a lot of discussions and issues were talked about during that day. And one particular guest actually in that forum inspired me. He was saying that what President Aquino started to do, he actually did. Although there's still a lot of things to do with regards to infrastructure projects and also with a lot of things that need to...
I think that was Mr. Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum itself. And during the plenary, he said that we should adopt certain business models that would help each other, not just politically, because this is not just a political exercise, but it is an exercise of integration of the ASEAN region. And then you remember that there were a lot of questions. Why East Asia? Why is the world now focusing on East Asia? Well, we found out the answer yesterday when we were informed and we were presented with facts that it's because East Asia is the only region in the world that has shown a dramatic rise in its GDP of 7%, while the rest of the world barely raised it. We go back to Cathy San Gabriel in her report.
Manila City Mayor.
Thank you very much, Cathy San Gabriel. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, Robert, what I really found very, very interesting yesterday was the way President Aquino, during the opening plenary, had given so much credit to the ordinary Filipino people for taking our country at the forefront of the World Economic Forum.
Yes, it just shows that, the government cannot work alone. So there has to be really a part where the people have to help in order for our nation to grow. So there's a lot of partnership, a lot of feedback from government to public, and even the business community, which is why a lot of our business people are right now are attending the World Economic Forum just to see the highlights of the gains that our country has done in the past years of the Aquino administration, the investment grade upgrades, fundamentals, and I guess what maybe the biggest reason why it's being hosted is they see that the Philippines has really become resilient in spite of all the crisis that has been happening, not only here in Asia in the past, but also what was happening abroad in the US and also in Europe. The resiliency, and also with on track with the fundamentals economically, and also what President has the path of tuwid na daan.
Exactly.
The anti-corruption, transparency, and I think that's why outside observers has seen this and has said that the Philippines now, I guess, is a credit-worthy country, stable enough for foreign investments to come in. Now, it is now that the ball is in our court now in the Philippines on how to translate that into gains of more foreign direct investments here in the Philippines, and to have inclusive growth to trickle
add to
down.
Your question, how can we sustain such kind of growth in our country? Just so it would take us to 2050 beyond, because integration will happen. The deadline will be on December of 2015. Meanwhile, before anything else, Rocky Ignacio will report on the official opening of the 23rd World Economic Forum by President Benigno Aquino III.
President Aquino opened the 23rd World Economic Forum on East Asia, showcasing the country's economic turnaround after a decade. The president is joined by Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Thanh Duong and Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono.
I cannot overstate our country's gratitude for the opportunity to host all of you here, and it gives me great pride to say, on behalf of my countrymen, indeed, welcome to the Philippines. Over the course of your visit, I am hopeful that you can make time in your busy schedules to visit our tourist attractions and historical landmarks, which makes us one of the most fun countries on earth.
The discussion was focused on steps to ensure economic stability in East Asia. This is the first that World Economic Forum held in Manila, an opportunity to present steps as springboard for a vibrant economy. President Aquino cited measures to ensure additional investments, food security, and improve the plight of poor Filipinos.
Our people are the be-all and end-all of this government, and we are not content with waiting for the benefits of growth to just trickle down the social pyramid. This is why, from the beginning of our term, most of our efforts have been targeting the poorest of the poor. This year, however, we have expanded the scope of our efforts and are now likewise targeting those who are deemed near poor, or those who are one catastrophic illness or one natural disaster away from going below the poverty threshold. Our goal, to push them further and further away from the poverty line, and to empower them to improve their own lots in life.
The president also recognized the need to mitigate the effect of climate change. He added that the country attained a 7.2% growth in 2013 despite the devastation brought by Zamboanga siege, killer quake in Bohol, and Super Typhoon Haiyan in the Visayas.
At the end of the day, however, we recognize that the power behind all our efforts, whether in pursuing inclusive economic growth, improving competitiveness, food security, or disaster risk management, comes from any individual, but from our people. This is why inclusive growth is not just a mantra for us. It is the yardstick by which we measure any government undertaking. After all, it is a participatory public, one that is empowered, and one that gives government their trust and confidence, and a government that never misplaces that trust, that ultimately makes equitable progress possible. It is truly a symbiotic relationship. As we empower our people to improve their lots in life, they empower us to battle the vested interests that remain in society. Ultimately, it is our countrymen who give us the confidence to continue blazing the path of reform.
Good governance has been the backbone of the administration's campaign. President Aquino renewed his commitment to end graft and corruption in the country.
We pursued all those who committed wrongdoing, regardless of their power, wealth, or influence. As you may have guessed, tangling with these very wealthy individuals and sectors with vested interests was not an easy task. but those in our administration were not shaken. Dismantling the culture of corruption was a promise we made to the people. If we truly wanted to improve the lives of our people, we could not possibly shirk away from this challenge. We had to take on all those who had a misplaced sense of entitlement, who believed that they had more rights than their fellow Filipinos. So we went after every individual who committed wrongdoing, and look at the results. My predecessor is now undergoing hospital arrest as she undergoes 2 serious charges, with another one being evaluated by the Ombudsman. The Congress and the Senate removed a Chief Justice from office for failing to declare over 98% of his assets and is in his statement of assets and liabilities and net worth, contrary to our Constitution and our laws. Our efforts were not limited to those in the highest positions. We want to institute integrity throughout the bureaucracy.
President Aquino added that reforms are visible through the investment grade status given by the 3 international credit rating agencies.
The result of all our collective efforts in the Philippines is what you see now. One instilled with a newfound optimism, one that believes in its capacity to help its people, and one that is widely considered to be among the world's emerging economies.
The Philippines will officially turn over to Indonesia the hosting of the 24th World Economic Forum East Asia in 2015. For the People's Television, Rocky Ignacio.
Thank you very much, Rocky Ignacio. According to her report, what really stood out yesterday was the fact that all the leaders of East Asia who were there during the plenary were saying that a participatory public is the key towards integration. Yeah. So that's why I think the President, or President Aquino, has given so much credit on the ordinary Filipino people who have done their part the best that they can in order to make our country, our economy, our policies be at its best during its implementation.
Yes, as we discussed earlier, it's really an integral part on nation building that, you know, government can do only so much in terms of building infrastructure, building the economic fundamentals and all that. We will now go back to Malacanang, Kathy, where President Aquino will be Indonesian President.